Hello! I wanted to give a quick update about Xplor. We got to go to Xplor Fuego, my wife and I just wanted to give a quick video blog about our experience there and some of the things we really enjoyed and some of the things that we didn't really enjoy. Xplor is actually laid out really well. Everything revolves around what they call the corazon, the heart. It's all mostly in caves, and the heart is in the middle of the cave, but it's kind of like right in the middle of the park. So every time you go to or come back from an activity, you'll basically be passing through the heart. And in the heart, there's the lockers, and they actually have a free refreshment station, which is really nice. One of the things that we kind of got spoiled with at Savage was that at every activity they had a small locker you could put things in. So like with my phone or my wife's watch, we could put those things in a small locker before we did the activity, and we didn't have to walk all the way back to the entrance. Well, that's not been the case at any other place we've been. And it wasn't the case at Xplor either. There is one central place for lockers. So my wife loves to be able to count her steps and activities that she does on her watch, and she wasn't able to do that because we had to continually leave it in the locker, the main locker, because all of the activities at Xplor you will get wet on, every single one. And I'll kind of go through every one. We did every single thing that Xplor has to offer, which was nice. That's something else I really liked about Xplor, was that all of the activities were included. That's not been the case anywhere else we've been down here at Xcaret. Xplor has been the only park where we've been able to do absolutely everything we want to do for the cost of admission, which was great. And we did everything. When we first got to Xplor, we decided that we were going to try to do just all the things we knew we were going to get wet on first before we ate, and then do some of the dry stuff later. And that didn't really work out well for us, because we come to find out that every single thing that we do, you get wet on. But we tried. We started off with the rafting, the underground rafting, and it actually was really neat. We rafted through caves, natural, and some was man-made, but mostly natural caves. And it was a nice little 30-minute river raft that you sit in this really short raft, and you paddle with your hands with these little fins that they give you, and it was neat. It was lit up. So at some point there was bubbles to kind of make it more mysterious. And we did go to Xplor Fuego, so we went at nighttime. So I don't know if all this stuff happens during the day or not, but at night it was all lit up, and it was red, and it was a really neat experience. I really enjoyed it. Mainly I did all the paddling, and my wife took a lot of pictures and video, and we had a really good time with doing that. And then we did, after that, we decided to do the underground river swim. And it really was a lot of swimming. I mean, they gave us a life jacket. Everybody always has to wear a hard hat, like a hard hat, through the whole park, which I understand, because half of it mostly is in caves. But when you're swimming, they just give you a life jacket, and you can choose to take the shorter route or the longer route. The shorter route, I think they said, was 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and the longer route was like 30 minutes, and we chose the longer route. But it really was a lot of swimming. One of the things that I think would have been beneficial is if they would have maybe given us flippers, or even maybe the option to rent flippers. Would have been good, because it really was, by the time that we were done with the river swim, even though it was absolutely gorgeous, we were wore out. And there was a lot of areas of that river swim that were dark, really dark. You definitely couldn't see the bottom, although it was not very deep. We weren't able to touch through most of it, but it wasn't that deep. But there was some places that was completely dark, and that kind of freaked my wife out a little bit. She just would swim really fast from light to light so that she could get through it. But we had a lot of fun. It was beautiful. Definitely cave formations. One thing we did not expect was that it's a real live cave with bats and everything. There's a part where we were swimming through, and there were lots and lots, dozens and dozens of bats that were flying, 15, 20 feet over our heads, that we were having to swim underneath. So that was something I did not expect going in. I didn't think there would be bats in there at all. And that was a little nerve-wracking for me. But we just had to keep going. And there's really no backing out. There's 4 exits through the whole thing, so you at least got to swim to the next exit if you want to take like the chicken exit. And there's absolutely no employees down there, so like you got to do it. And there's no backing out. There's no asking for help. There's nobody down there but you. So it was kind of adventurous for sure, and we enjoyed it. After that, we also did the Hammock Swing, which actually I think was our very first activity that I forgot. We did this Hammock Swing, which is kind of like a zip line. You're sitting in a hammock chair, and you start, and you just you zip line down, and you land in the water. And it was okay. It wasn't really that fast. The water was very cold, way colder than we expected it would be. It was fun. It only took like 30 seconds, and you were done. So it was just kind of one of those activities that was fun to do, but wasn't something that you would just continue to want to do over and over again because it was just so short. So we were completely soaked, and it was getting kind of late. So we went ahead and decided to eat because we thought that the last 2 activities we'd be able to stay dry, but we weren't able to stay dry. We decided to eat after that 3rd wet water activity, and we actually wanted to eat right at 5:30 when we got to the park because we hadn't ate lunch. We expected to be able just to get to Xplor Fuego. We got there a little bit early. We actually got there about 4:30 because we thought that maybe we could get there and eat first and then go into the park when the park opened at 5:30, but that was not the case. They did not start serving dinner until 7:30. So by that time we were very hungry and kind of almost beyond that hungry because we had already walked so much, because going in between these different activities, some of them are 10-15 minute walks down through caves and up and around, so some of them there's a lot of walking just to get to the activity. So by the time that dinner got there, we were hungry, we were tired already. And so actually dinner was kind of a refreshing time just to be able to sit and relax. It was called an international buffet, which was actually good for us because we had been in Mexico now for 5 days and had not had very much American food at all. And so for us to be able to go to a buffet and see cheeseburgers and hot dogs and onion rings and French fries and ribs was pretty good. And so we were excited about that, and it was actually really good. The cheeseburgers were very good, and so we did enjoy the buffet there, and we just kind of relaxed for a little bit because the park didn't close till 11:30. It was already 7:30, and we only had 2 activities left. So we just kind of relaxed and took our time. But after that, we decided to go ahead and do the ATV drive. I'm not exactly sure. I think they call it amphibious vehicles. And actually, that one really was a lot of fun. We have a UTV at home, and I thought it would be very similar to that, and I was actually pretty excited about it. And it was a blast. The course that they laid out for you was a really long course. I expected it maybe to be 5 or 10 minutes long. I didn't know really what to expect, but it was a long drive, and it was adventurous and exciting because we get to drive these side by sides through caves. Some of them natural, some of them man-made, and through water and over bridges and up and down these kind of steep inclines. And it really was fun. I mean, it took us, I think, 35 minutes to drive the vehicles, and it was a blast. We had a really good time. And since we were there for Xplor Fuego, every once in a while, especially through the caves, they would have this fire that would shoot up around you as you drove past, and it really was fun. I really enjoyed that one a lot. And so once we finished that, we did get a tiny bit wet because we had to drive through some water, but we were kind of dry, so we were we were grateful that we were starting to dry out before we had to take the bus back. And so we thought we would really dry off with the zip lines because that was the last one. That was the biggest and best, and so we wanted to save it for last. And we found out that the zip line actually ends in water. There's no getting around it. Like, you will get wet. And so we were kind of disappointed about that. I guess my wife was more than anything. But the zip line's totally made up for it. I had never been on a zip line of this size before ever. It's like nine towers, 9 different zip lines. And normally when you go on a zip line, you climb to the very tallest tower you can get to, and then you zip line down, and you just keep zipping lower and lower and lower. And that's not really the way it was here. Once you zip line down, you climbed 2 more stories higher up into the next tower. So every zip line was high, very high. And we did it at night, so I couldn't see the bottom. I could not see the ground. I could barely see the tops of the trees that I was ziplining over. So it really was, even I was nervous because you're standing on the edges of these towers. There's somebody up there, they're very professional, they do a good job, and they keep you safe, but there's nothing keeping you besides that instructor and a little clip on your belt from just falling off the edge. And so that was really nerve-wracking, especially at night when you couldn't see the bottom. But the zip line was a blast. It's by far the most adventurous thing I've done in a long time. Super adrenaline, super rush. It was awesome. My wife liked it too, although she hated it for the first couple. Like the first 2 towers, she was ready to be done because it scared her. She just did not like not being able to see where she was going. I think it was the night thing that really bothered her, but by the end of it, she was doing just fine. And then, so you zip line through all 9 of these towers. The very last zip line, you zip into a cave, and you get wet. You just zip right into some water, and you almost actually even have to kind of swim to get back to the place to get out of the zip line. But that was amazing. That was by far the best. So we got there about 4:30, like I said, and we were done by 10:30. So it took us 6 hours to do the entire park plus eating at the buffet. It was fun. It was a blast. But we were completely exhausted when we were finished because we had just done so much walking. There is a lot of walking at Xplor. It's worth it, I think, but it really is a long day of walking. They also have really neat areas if you wanted to spend more time there, especially for Xplor Fuego. They had some really nice hammock areas there. They had some nice areas that you could actually sit in some chairs around a fire and just relax, which was really neat. There was a lot of wildlife there. There was a lot of iguanas there. And so that was really neat to be able to experience that. And we didn't get to sit around the fire. We didn't do that because we didn't want to take the time to do that, but several people were, and it looked really neat. But by far, Xplor Fuego has been my favorite activity that we've done so far with Xcaret.